everyone, how are you? This is Jennifer Edwards coming to you from New Jersey in case you don't know who I am. I think you may know where I stand on this question, right? Just by this fancy little hat and balloons on my head. Let me just get rid of it. So I am coming to you live, like I said, from New Jersey. I am a work from home mom of 3, which may explain a lot of why I feel the way that I do about this topic. But please, if you're watching the replay, drop a number 2, please. So like I said, I'm a work from home mom of 3 little boys who are totally my biggest blessings and my biggest challenges at the same time. I did just try to do this video a couple minutes wireless. I'm having issues with my wireless for some reason, and I have, it goes to data, so I shouldn't have an issue with my phone, but whatever. So I had my boys start school today. Right, so my 2 big boys are in school full time, and I have a 2-year-old who is in daycare a couple days a week. But today happens to be a day on, so today is the first day in over a month that I'm free of children, at least for a few hours, and it's wonderful. I'm not going to lie, I'm not ashamed to admit that. So, obviously you know where I kind of stand on this situation, but I wanted to share some things with you. So for a long time, I really thought that maybe something was wrong with me, that maybe I wasn't cut out to be a mom, and maybe, I don't know, I felt guilty, right, about enjoying my time away from my kids. And why am I excited about them going back to school? There are so many moms that are like, oh, I'm so sad, I'm going to miss them. And I'm like, no, no, please go. I felt judged by a lot of other moms. And so, I wanted to share what I've discovered with you in the hopes that it may help somebody feel better about their stance on this entire situation as well, right? So obviously I love my boys. I do enjoy spending time with them, but, I love me too. And I do enjoy my freedom. I enjoy, having a little bit of a break. I enjoy being able to do things for myself, shower and take care of myself. And really, I'm so excited. I'm going to plan my hair appointment and I'm going to get my nails done. And anyway, I didn't do that yet, obviously. But anyway, can you do me a favor? Drop me a 3 if you're feeling sad that your kids are back in school. Or if, you're feeling a sense of freedom now, could you drop me a 4? So anyway, why aren't we all sad about our kids going back to school? It's not a matter of you being a bad parent. And obviously, it's not easy when you have to wake up and get your children ready for school. It's not easy to get their lunches packed and look forward to all of that and all of the paperwork and all of the homework and all of that. So, there's a trade-off here. But I recently learned that I'm an introvert. Now, I really didn't think that. I never thought that. Honestly, I was you're always a social butterfly from the time of being a young child. Even though I was quiet in high school and things like that, I always thought I thrived on social activities and things like that. Obviously, I'm not shy. Hey, I'm doing a live, right? So if you're putting yourself out there like that, obviously you're not shy and afraid to talk to people and things like that. But it's interesting because if you look up the dictionary, if you look up the definition in the dictionary, I looked it up on dictionary.com. So the definition of an introvert, according to dictionary.com, is 1, a shy person, or 2, a person characterized by concern primarily with his or her own thoughts and feelings. And I have to say that this is completely and totally not true for me, but that's okay. As opposed to the definition for extrovert. So a definition of extrovert is outgoing, gregarious person concerned primarily with physical and social environment. So do you personally feel like you fit into either one of those boxes? I totally don't. I definitely am outgoing in the right kind of situation. I enjoy having a great time. I enjoy going out with friends. I don't necessarily enjoy cutting myself off from society and hiding in my house and things like that. Tell me in the comments though if you feel like you fit into either of those boxes. I really don't. I feel like the definition is definitely way too simplistic. And yes, Dawn, it was a really rough summer. It really was. I'm not gonna lie, it was rough. This definition is too simplistic. The truth is that it's really like a spectrum, right? I think I definitely fall somewhere in the middle between being an introvert and an extrovert. And really the best way to know where you fall and whether you're an introvert or an extrovert is to pay attention to whether you're gaining or losing energy when you have a lot of social commitments and you're around others a lot, right? So if you're gaining energy from that, you thrive in that kind of an environment and you feel more energized after spending time with people, then you're more of an extrovert. An introvert is more has more energy that flows kind of inward. They're more concerned with ideas, more concerned about thoughts and reflection, and they feel recharged when they get a chance to really process events and process conversations and things like that. And so it also means that we introverts get overstimulated more easily. So the social aspect is really such a small part of the whole introvert extrovert equation, right? Because it affects, this kind of thing really does affect every single aspect of your life, right? And you know, once I started reading about this, it made so much more sense. It explains why I get cranky when I have too much peopling. When I'm around people too much, I tend to get cranky. I need some time to really process things. Excuse me. So, like I said, it affects everything, especially and including parenting. So, you know, like as a parent, you really, like, your kids are always around. There's no escaping them. There's no solitude. There's no opportunity for solitude if they're home with you, if you're a stay-at-home mom or a stay-at-home dad or whatever. Like, there's no getting away from them if they're not in school or don't have an ability to keep themselves occupied. My kids personally, you know, constantly interrupt my thoughts, interrupt my ability to act on my ideas, and you know, and I'm not complaining. I love them with all my heart, and honestly, I wouldn't change a thing. It's just that I do need my time, right? I'm definitely more productive when I'm alone, and that's in like every aspect of my life. Getting the house clean, you know, doing work. I obviously do work from home, so I have work to do. I just can't seem to complete a single thing when my kids are around, right? I really have no opportunity to recharge my batteries when they're around. If you can relate, drop something in the comments. You know, I know this can't just be me. So I'd really love to hear from more of you that may be experiencing the same thing. I think when you don't have an opportunity to really recharge your batteries, if you know, if you're a person that needs to recharge your batteries by being alone, it really drains every bit of energy you have, and you lose your temper easily, and you get frustrated and annoyed, and it's just really, really hard to deal with, especially if you're dealing with a child of your own that's an extrovert, which I'm starting to think, you know, this may be why I have so much frustration with my middle child. He needs somebody to interact with him all day. He wants somebody to play with him. He can't entertain himself. He wants to be with everybody else. He doesn't want to be alone. It's hard. It's really, really hard, especially as like an introverted mom, right? So anyway, just a few things, right, to see, are you an introvert, right? I looked up some of the most common qualities of an introvert. So if, hopefully this helps some of you out there, right? You find small talk awkward or difficult. As a result, you may be called too intense. You want to discuss, you know, you know, topics that are deeper and maybe more abstract, and you don't want to talk about the weather You know, it's not stimulating for you at all to have small talk. You feel alone in the crowd sometimes. You feel kind of like left out, or maybe you let your friends and your activities pick you. You don't necessarily extend invitations for other people. You tend to rely on other people to make plans, and then you kind of join along, right? You crave authenticity in your interactions. You don't bother much with people that you know that really aren't interested in you and your life, and you don't really bother with people that you don't care for, right? And you can't be fake, and you can't put on a good front and pretend that you like someone. You want to be authentic. Networking for the sole purpose of generating business feels like super fake to you, and anything like that. So, that's one thing. It feels disingenuous, right? You're easily distracted and overwhelmed in environments where they're overstimulating, lots of loud noise, music, conversation. Giving a talk, this one really spoke to me. So this, I guess, explains the live video here and my comfort with that. But giving a talk in front of a large group is more comfortable for you and less stressful for you than having to make small talk with the group afterwards, and mingle. When you pick a seat in a public place, you walk into a classroom, you walk into a subway car, etc. You pick an area where you can easily escape. You sit as close to the door as possible. You sit on the end. You don't sit in the middle of a bench. You try to sit away from people. You sit on an aisle or in the back of a room. You start to shut down after a lot of time out and about and peopling. I use that word again, to conserve your energy, right? You need to restore your energy in a quiet environment. And then if you don't have a quiet environment to escape to, you really tend to zone out. Which I do, and obviously that's not conducive at all to parenting, because that's how kids draw on the floor with Sharpie, and on their face with Sharpie and things like that. Yeah. So, but that's a topic for another conversation, another day. You screen all of your calls, even if they're from friends that you enjoy conversation with, because you need to be prepared mentally to have a conversation with them. I tend to get mad when my phone rings. I know that's really silly, whatever, but most of my phone calls that come in on my house line are definitely sales calls, so that explains most of it, but it does interrupt my thought, and I get mad sometimes when the phone rings. Let's see. You notice details that other people don't. You have like a keen eye for detail. And that's in things that people aren't necessarily saying. So you can pick up on body language and a lot of other things like that, because you're really paying attention and not necessarily thinking about talking, and you're processing everything that's being said. And then you have a constantly running inner dialogue, right? I can't even say it. Inner dialogue. You kind of think first, talk later, are constantly criticizing, things that you might have said after the fact, things like that. You prefer to look at the big picture and big ideas rather than facts and details. And, while a lot of people that are introverts really do excel in work and detail-oriented tasks, they really do love abstract discussion. So all of those things you're not supposed to talk about, they really do enjoy talking about, religion and politics and things like that. It is, kind of something that they enjoy talking about. Let's see. You're better at communicating through writing, because you can really take an opportunity to think through what you're going to say before you say it, as opposed to in-person conversation. And you really do enjoy writing. And then the last thing really is that you alternate between periods of socializing and busyness, and periods of inwardness and solitude, right? So if you have too much on your calendar and you have too much overexertion and too much socializing, it really does stress you out. And then you alternate that with some time where you just want to spend time alone, you want to spend quiet time, and you need to really decompress. Okay, and so the solitude really balances you out. Does anyone relate to any of this? Let me know, because I'm really curious to see who my fellow introverts are out there. The first time that I noticed that I was an introvert was actually a year ago, pretty much exactly a year ago. So I was on a business trip, a business getaway, and I had a roommate that I really didn't know very well. Thank you, Melissa. So I had this roommate that I didn't really know very well, and from the moment that we got into the room that we were sharing together, she talked a lot. Okay, and I'm not judging anyone that talks a lot, but it was up to me to kind of set those boundaries, and I didn't know that the boundaries needed to exist at that point. But so we went away together. We spent a few nights in the same room, it was one of these things, right? So it was a long event. It was about 3 full days. And after the event, it was a long day of socializing, right? And then there would be a time where you go back to your room to get ready for bed. And this woman, and like I said, she was very, very sweet, very nice lady, but she talked from the moment her eyes opened until the moment her eyes closed. And it was hard for me. And I felt like I could not wait to get out of there. And I felt like a terrible person. It made me moody. It made me cranky. And irritable, and I zoned out, and I really wasn't listening to her anyway, and I felt bad. I'm like, I have no idea what this woman's even talking about anymore, and it makes me feel so bad. So anyway, from this point on, right, or at that point on, I was like, I need to make it a point to room with people that I, either I know are similar to me in some way, and they do need some time to decompress after being so social, or I need to be clearer about my boundaries and just make it known. And I realized that it's going to hurt feelings. In fact, when I got home from that trip, I told my mom, I realize now why I get cranky with you when we're out shopping, and at some point I just kind of start shutting down. I just don't want to talk anymore, and I get cranky and irritable, and then she gets mad at me, and whatever. So I told her this, and she took it as I said that she talked too much, which I guess, in a roundabout way, I was telling her. But I needed to tell her that to respect my boundaries, and people are going to get mad, but it does take a lot to make people understand that kind of thing, right? They do have to kind of understand, you need time and time to process things in quiet time. So anyway, have you ever had something like that happen to you, right? Have you ever noticed something like this happening? Drop it in the comments. Let me know. So now that I know, I will totally institute alone time when I can. I will totally, be more careful about rooming and that kind of thing. And when I'm feeling cranky and irritable, and pretty much this seems to be a pattern, right? So like when I feel like everyone and everything is annoying me, including myself, sometimes I get annoyed with myself and I need to escape myself. And that's really why I need quiet time, right? I'm miserable. I don't want to talk because I don't want to bring anyone else down. I need to respect that in myself as well, and institute alone time, find a way to take a break from the kids. Yes, sorry, hun. That means you picking up the slack, and I know you always do. And I also need to escape from Facebook from time to time, because sometimes, it's the same thing. It's still being social, even if it's behind a screen. So who out there is also an introvert? Have you related to anything that I've said? Let me know. Let's talk about it. And how about introverted parents? Does anyone else struggle with that? And with your kids breaking through your times of solitude and that kind of thing? Let me know. And would it be helpful for me to do another one of these videos going through some ways to cope with being an introverted parent? Would that be helpful? Let me know. Let me know either below or private message me. Anyway, thanks for hearing me out. I actually do have to go get my child from the bus now. Today has gone super fast for me. But interestingly enough, on the same topic, once my kids were all at school, so I had to put 2 on the bus, and then I dropped 1 off at daycare. But once I had them all out of the house and I returned home, I have not had on the TV. I have not had on any videos or any kind of audio of anything at all. No music. I wanted dead silence today. But thank you anyway. Thank you everybody, really, so much for joining me. And if you got value from this, just let me know. I really do. I really would appreciate it if you would share that. I don't like talking to myself so much, believe it or not. And so I really do like to know if I've made a difference for anyone. So thank you all so very much. I'm hoping that I can shut off this video because I've been having issues with getting rid of my screen. But thank you all for joining me. I hope you found value. Take care and enjoy. And this is not really wine. This is liquid biocell. I didn't want to open wine for this, but it made a good effect, right? Anyway, I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye. Enjoy.